You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Thanks so much for joining me here again today. Can't wait to get started with our first house call of the weekend. We will be diving into our community's questions. Looking forward, as always, to those. Typically, we'll get through about 6 to 10 questions per show. Just depends on the length of the question, the complexity, and of course, how much of a rant I decide to go on. So we just never know. I haven't looked at any of the questions. I am looking forward to checking them out today and giving you my best thoughts on where to begin. So as always, I like to say that these house calls are not giving you medical advice. I am giving you my best recommendation based on the limited amount of data that I do have. However, it's the same exact recommendation I would give you if you were sitting right across from me. So it's a great place to get started. It's a great place to begin to learn more about what you have going on with your health. And I'll recommend anything from going to see a particular specialist or using a particular tool or blueprint or formula or lab or whatever it might be. I'll give you that place to be able to get started on your path to achieving your goals. All things wellness, weight loss, anti-aging. And you know what? Let's dive right into it. Let's get right into these questions. Let's see. The first one is from Lisa. And today's episode, all of the questions you can read along are at stephencabral.com/1296. That's today's show. Head on over to stephencabral.com/1296 for all the questions in full. Lisa's question is, I'm looking for help on how to use Andrographis. I was given a cutting at a local plant exchange, and I understand it is also known as Indian Echinacea. I am excited to have it, and I'm looking to understand how to use it for medicine. It is used in tea. It is dried out and ingested as an herb. Oh, that was a question. It says it is a bitter on some research I have done. It is apparently good for bites and stings too. Dr. Stephen Cabral, would you suggest for dosage and use? Thank you for your feedback. Okay. Happy to help. It just so happens Andrographis is absolutely one of my favorite herbs when it comes to viruses. So it is a great antiviral. It can also be used as a bacterial, but more research for common colds and flu with its antiviral-based effects. It's also part of my tick bite protocol. If you'd like to see the whole tick bite protocol, just head on over to stephencabral.com/podcast and just type in tick bite, and you will find that podcast on that with exact recommendations and dosages. All right, so it's most potent as an extract. What is an extract? Well, an extract is basically a tincture. It's a liquid tincture that is used. Typically, it's either used with glycerin or it's used as an alcohol-based extract, and that can be used as a preservative as well. You can burn off the alcohol by just putting the bottle in some hot water. It won't last as long, but you don't put the liquid in there. You actually put the bottle in, and you let that alcohol evaporate. So that's an easy way to do it if you'd like. You can also buy a non-alcohol version of it. Okay, so depending on how you want to use it. So for a tick bite, you want to use it at full potency. So I'm going to use that with a full dropper 3 times a day. So as a tea is great as well, but these are immunostimulants, and I typically don't recommend using an immunostimulant unless you have a reason to. So if it's like, okay, you're getting on an airplane or you're around sick people or whatever it might be, you might use it for 5 days or so to make sure that you don't get sick. And to fight the viruses that may enter your body. For the tick bite protocol, that'll be more like 3 to 6 weeks. So it depends on how you're using it. They're actually studying it right now for HIV as an anti-HIV based herb. Pretty amazing. What else can I tell you about it? Well, yes, it's referred to as Indian Echinacea sometimes, and it comes by many different names, but it's not Echinacea like we think of Echinacea. Echinacea and Andrographis, they don't look the same. So you can look at the plants, they look very different. Echinacea is this beautiful pinkish, it can be actually a couple different colors, but pinkish orangey type color, pinkish purple as well. And it just so happens to be my youngest daughter's favorite herb. And she picked it out. It's amazing. It was probably my proudest day as a father. She's at a local farm that we go to, and they have amazing produce and all sorts of great things. And they have greenhouses in the back. So we walk back there. We're just kind of looking around and not doing too much. I'm not putting on an herbalism class with them. But she points out the Echinacea before I even saw it. And again, easily my proudest day as a father. All right. Thank you, Lisa, for writing in. Fiona is up next. Hi there. I need some advice on where to get started with supplements and testing. Brief background. I'm 32, live in Australia. I'm 165 centimeters tall, about 59, 62 kilos. I don't have any health issues. However, I do suffer from anxiety, depression, and OCD. I don't take anything for it, and I'm highly functioning. I study full-time as well as working. I study in the field of nutrition. I'm knowledgeable, and I look after myself. Eating well 90% of the time, exercise and walk 6 times a week. I suffer from extreme bloating, most obvious around my menstrual cycle. My main concern problem areas are the mental state, gut health, which I understand are connected. I prefer not to be medicated for my anxiety, OCD, and depression. I am not at risk to harm myself or others. However, it does weigh me down on a daily basis, and I would like to try all avenues. What testing and supplements do you recommend to begin with? Appreciate your help. All right, so what I would do is this. First, run the labs, so then we can pinpoint exactly what we're looking to do. Ideal world, you'll run the Big Five. We ship the Big Five to Australia every single day. Every single day, many people from Australia order every single day labs, and so we ship those over every day. They get there in about 5 days. You complete them on your own. You'll ship them back. We'll get you the results in about 4 weeks. You talk with one of our health coaches, and they will make exact recommendations based on your labs. So let's say that you can't do the Big Five. Okay, fair enough. Let's put them in order of importance that I would do for you. Based on your gut-based issues, based on anxiety, depression, OCD, and based on your symptoms being worse around your menstrual cycle. All right, first, organic acids test. Second test is going to be the thyroid adrenal hormone, done during when you have high symptoms during your PMS-based time. So I'm going to do that probably around day 21 for you. Could be a little bit earlier, maybe just a little bit later. But it's going to be a regular stress day with work and with school, and it will be during times of not feeling well. Okay, so that's the thyroid adrenal hormone. Next up after that, I absolutely want to do a hair tissue mineral analysis because I want to see what are your CalMag levels. Are you just really low in magnesium? Maybe. Or what if you're all low for electrolytes? All right, we'll bring those up. What if you're very high in copper? What if you have high aluminum, high mercury that's causing some of this OCD as well? So we want to check that. That's a great one. The next one is going to be a omega-3 test. I want to make sure that your omega-3s are 3-to-1 from omega-6 to omega-3. And the last one would be a food sensitivity test to see which foods are affecting you a day or 2 days later after you eat them. And that's an IgG food sensitivity test. All of these are simple, either a finger prick, a hair sample, a urine sample, or a saliva sample. That's it. So I put them in order of importance. Fiona, hopefully that helps, and we look forward to helping you soon. Now, one thing I can say is after you do the labs, you can complete a 21-day detox, which will teach you a lot about healthy eating. It will get a lot of these toxins out of your body, but first complete the labs. Okay, Myron's up next. Hi, just completed the 21-day detox. Although I did see some improvements, I feel like there are many underlying root causes that still need to be addressed. Specifically, I believe I have issues with my cortisol levels, adrenals, thyroid, and bloating. Even on the detox, I would still get some gas and upset stomach. I'm having problems deciding which lab to purchase, thyroid adrenal hormone or organic acids test or food sensitivity test. I can only afford one, so which one should I do? However, I do know that I should address my gut issues first, ? My concern is that if I have to address my adrenals and thyroid, then I would not see the best benefit because my gut issues will continue to create inflammation and bloating. For reference, I'm 41, female, 5'2", 134, work out with weights 4 days a week, 2 HIIT sessions, 2 days a week jogging. I've been low-carb keto for 3 years. My body is naturally able to sit around 120, 123. I started having gut issues 13 years ago and also lost my period for 18 months trying to diet down for fitness competition. I was able to get my period back after having to take progesterone. I am really looking forward to your response and finally feeling like myself again. Thank you so much. Myron, thank you for the question. And absolutely, that's the nice thing. You do the detox. And if you don't see a lot of those symptoms resolving, or if you didn't lose the 5 pounds in 7 days like you should, if you need some weight loss, it doesn't look like you do, so that's not the goal. You're going to want to look deeper for sure. And like, that's the nice thing is like, yes, some people need to do a deeper level of work. Nothing wrong with that. It just means that you need a little bit more help. And again, like no problem at all. Happy to help with that. And totally understand you can only run one lab. So here's what I would do. Really hard to pinpoint the hormones and adrenal function and cortisol, but here's what we can do. You have bloating. You have bloating with normal foods. You've been doing keto and low carb for so long. We need to correct the gut. Here's what I would do. Don't spend the money on the organic acids test if you can't. Don't spend it on the food test. We'll give you the elimination diet. And you can do the CBO protocol with those citricidal drops in the beginning. You can just email our health coaching team if you have any issues, just support@equilibriumnutrition.com. And what we'll do is you can use that instead of the lab. So you'd have to do it anyway if you showed up high with candida overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth. So let's just go right to it. We'll save you the money in the lab. And then let's run the thyroid adrenal hormone lab. And let's do that, again, somewhere around days 19 to 21 of your cycle. And then you'll get a nice, really nicely pinpointed plan that will address both hormones based on your lab, and it will address your actual gut-based issues. So here's the thing, though. Women that have been doing keto and low carb for that long, you probably won't be surprised if you've been listening to the podcast, but it does lower thyroid for many, many women over time. So let's check that out. Christina's up next. Dear Stephen, thanks for being my all-time idol, mentor, king, haha. Thank you, Christina. I just love how you go about. I have a friend and her son that has PFAPA syndrome. He has been on antibiotics and one-time steroid and gets sick 2 times a week with his CRP numbers very high, tonsil swollen, sore body, spots on tongue, and now they are going to remove the tonsils. They say that the kids in 75% of thus kind OG, autoimmune, gets better after removing them. I just wonder why. What is the underlying root cause? I have told her to do the CBO Children's and all-in-one Omega. Is there anything else I am missing or should let her do? I really hope you can help. Kind regards, Christina. Okay. Yeah, happy to help. And when I say I'm happy to help, it doesn't mean that it's an easy fix, right? But it does mean there is a fix. That's the nice thing. So for those of you who aren't familiar with PFAPA, it's just an acronym like most things in medicine. It's like, oh, HPA. Doesn't everybody know what HPA axis means? Oh, of course they don't, right? So it's periodic fever, adenitis, pharyngitis, and I believe it's aphthous ulcer syndrome. So what we're looking at is really, what are we looking at? Well, fevers, what caused the fever? The immune system trying to rid itself of viruses and bacteria, which is why there's a high CRP. Now, the interesting thing about CRP, it stands for acute-based inflammation. It could be anything, though, right? It could be anything that's causing inflammation. But oftentimes, it's a bacterial-based infection, right? And that's why also the tonsils are inflamed, or adenoids may be inflamed. Well, remember, they're doing their job. They are the site where white blood cells go to work, break down this bacteria, break down this viruses, and oftentimes they need some help, right? And antibiotics can just allow for more bacterial-based issues. I like that you were recommending the children's CBO protocol. For sure, we always look at the gut, especially when they've done that many antibiotics. But the problem is the cycle has to stop. If you're using steroids, it's going to lead to leaky gut. If you're using antibiotics, it's going to wipe out a lot of the good bacteria and also lead to leaky gut. This child most likely has proteins and bacteria and candida seeping into the bloodstream, if not the waste of that, causing the immune system to also be aggravated, as well as inflammation in the body. This is one where you need to work with a practitioner. You really do, right? Because this child needs help, right? And we want to be able to provide that help. So I would be remiss to say, let me just answer this over a podcast. I want to be honest with you. Look for a really good level 2 integrative health practitioner that's going to run labs with you, right? They can actually look at the gut-based testing, look at stool testing, look at the organic acids testing, okay? Really, really important. Let's also, or if you'd like, work with a naturopathic doctor that's local, a functional medicine practitioner that specializes in immune-based issues, autoimmune or gut. And I have no doubt that you will be able to get the to really be able to get the results so that this child lives a nice, healthy life. All right? Sarah's up next. Hello, Stephen Cabral. First of all, I want to thank you for all the work you do for spreading all of your knowledge to so many people with your practice and podcast. I'm contacting you because my fiance's dad had a brain tumor last year. After some treatment with chemo and the latest laser systems that they have, here in Sweden, the tumor went away. We are so glad and happy that it went well, and now we're working on the recovery part. The thing is that the recovery is being really slow. It's hard to see the steps and keep the motivation and for the rest of the family. Nonetheless, he did some improvements in physical therapy, goes 1 time a week. My fiance helps him with exercises 1 time per week or twice a week. However, the memory, the confusion, the disorientation is really hard to improve. He has no control of the time of the day, neither day in the weeks. If we say that we have to meet in 2 hours, he may call you back in 15 minutes, thinking that it's already time. Lately, it's been getting worse. Would like some tips in the recovery process. He has always been eating vegetarian, and he hasn't drank alcohol in 7 years. However, must say that even though I know that sugar is really bad for this type of situation, I have seen him eating candy or other some type of refined sugar. Also, he eats dairy. Thank you very much for your help, Beth Sarah. Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to improve motor-based skills and all of these different things, we need to do more than once a week. And I know that that's hard. But you can't allow 120 hours, 130 hours, 140 hours between sessions, and the session's probably only an hour long. This really has, and I know it's so hard on the family too, but it has to be a daily thing where we're working on the body, we're working on the mind. I also don't know what type of damage was done with chemo-based therapy or radiation or whatever it might be on the brain. I don't know. I wish I could help you to a greater degree. But the recovery process is going to be this. We can do sauna. We can do the de-stress protocol. I mean, that's really it. Diet, exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, right? We have to get that. So important. Emotional balance, the rest. We need the supplement protocol with the omega-3s, the daily fruit and vegetable blend, the daily nutritional support. And I'm pretty sure we do ship to Sweden as well. And what else? Then we need the success mindset for everyone, right? So that's what I recommend. And also we have to get rid of that dairy and we have to get rid of the candy. I'd rather have someone eat fish than dairy, for sure. Omega-3s, especially if they're not the high mercury ones. And I did a show on that. We have to get rid of that dairy, especially cow's milk-based dairy. It will increase tumor growth faster than anything else. It really will. I mean, if you look at its ability to raise IGF-1 levels and take a small calf to a large cow very quickly, it does that. It does that in humans. It does that in animals. And it's meant to. That's the whole point of milk, right? You get it when you're a baby so that you grow very quickly. And it typically passes on immunoglobulins as well from the mother to the baby. And again, red meat is also a very anabolic food. So I'm not saying you can't eat any protein. I know that he's vegetarian. If you want to be completely vegan, that's fine too. Then you're going to do your hemp hearts and your daily nutritional support for your protein, and like however you want to do it. But I can't recommend that dairy. So let's work on the overall picture. Let's get it daily. And that is the advice I can give you right now. All right. So hopefully that is helpful. Get on that daily foundational level 3 or at least level 2. And if we can lab test, we'll lab test. All right. Victoria's up next. Hello. I hope this message finds you well. I came across your podcast and felt like you'd be able to help my current situation. Our 10-month-old baby, who's been exclusively breastfed, has eczema on her face, chest, and legs. This started when she was 3 months old. I have cut pretty much everything out of my diet: gluten, dairy, eggs, grains, soy, nuts, nightshades, refined sugar, to the point I'm only eating a handful of vegetables and some fruit. I'm aware this is not sustainable for me or her. We also had to take a break from giving her solids because she would get flare-ups. I had to take antibiotics and ibuprofen after delivery due to complications, so I know my gut is compromised. However, it's been months and we aren't getting better. Which test would you recommend to get started? I was thinking about the food sensitivity test, but since I'm only eating a few things, I feel like those would automatically show up in the test. Are there any tests you'd recommend for our baby? I would love any recommendations, suggestions you may have. Thank you for your time. That's a great question. Really great question. And I agree with you. For you, I'd run the organic acids test and the stool test. For your 10-month-old, I would run the food sensitivity test. And that's because it's a finger prick for your 10-month-old. And then you could do the more complicated ones for you. And then we'll be able to help you from there. I'd love to be able to give you the answer right now as to what it is. For sure, for sure with eczema, we are looking at either, well, I mean, a 10-month-old is meant to have increased intestinal permeability. They're meant to have some leaky gut. So what is it about the proteins that they're getting from you or yeast or something like that could be causing this? So that's what I want to see with you, what's going on, and then I want to see the food sensitivities with your child so that we take those out of your diet so that they're not getting them in their diet. That's where I would start. That's going to give you a real strong and solid foundation, and we'll be able to go from there. So great question, and thank you for writing in. All right, let's do one more question. We have a question from Josh. Hey, Dr. Cabral, thanks for all you do. I have a question. In 2015, I was diagnosed with a Rocky Mountain spotted fever. I took 2 rounds of doxycycline and was told I either got over it or I didn't. Since then, I've had several health complications, high cholesterol, extreme fatigue. I made some life changes over 4 years, done the 21-day detox, did your deep sleep protocol. I've done the omega-3 test, thyroid adrenal hormone, and heavy metal. I follow recommendations, and I've seen improvements. I still have days where I can't function, just feel run down. It's hard to explain, but it feels like my immune system is always fighting, and it wears me down. I have sinus issues, but other than that, I'm lost. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Also, tested for Lyme and co-infections and came back negative. Thank you. Okay, I can give you the answer to this because it's the same thing that happens when people have Lyme disease. I see people a year or 2 years later after they've been diagnosed with Lyme disease. They're negative for the most part now for the bacteria, or it's not as high as it was. But the problem is this. They took doxycycline. Doxycycline is a dangerously strong drug. I understand why some people take it. I've talked about it. I've talked about the pros and cons. But what it also does is it destroys your mitochondria. Yes, it kills bacteria, but it also kills mitochondria, which are bacteria. So we have to understand is like, it doesn't preferentially say, okay, no, this is doxycycline. I'm not going to kill the mitochondria, the good bacteria in your cells, but I will kill this Borrelia or some type of other Lyme-based bacteria, and there are actually multiple forms. So that's the issue. Now we have to rebuild the mitochondria, and we can do that. With everyone in my practice, this is typically referred to, Josh, as myalgic encephalitis, okay? ME. Now, if you start to look into ME, you can go way down a rabbit hole, but here's what we need to do. Honestly, follow the de-stress protocol. Use the products. And I don't ever want to put the nocebo effect in people's head, but typically what I see is 10% improvement per month, gradual improvement. Why? Here's why. Realistically, you're getting new mitochondria every 120 days. That's 4 months, okay? You go another 4 months. You have now more mitochondria because you've been doing the right things. You've been doing your meditation. You've been taking your vitamins and your minerals and your omega-3s, and you've been taking in all the good healthy fats and proteins. And now we're building back up the mitochondria. The gut wall is getting stronger. You're absorbing more nutrients. In another 4 months, you have more mitochondria. And then another 4 months, you have even more mitochondria. Well, now, 4 months, you're at a year, and you're rebuilding those cells. They've been rebuilt. And so maybe it's just like a little bit more patience because you're seeing improvement. Now you only have a couple down days per week, but also keep working at it. For most part, daily foundational protocol level 3, an activated B complex at lunch, some full spectrum magnesium with dinner. Make sure you're getting a great night's sleep. Make sure you're getting 8 hours to potentially 9 hours of sleep, especially if you're more of the Vata-based body type. Take some Adrenal Soothe at dinner if you need to as well to really get into a deeper sleep. What else can I recommend? You can use things that are specific for mitochondrial building, but honestly, they're going to rebuild with all the great whole food nutrition, with the foundational protocol level 3, with the extra balanced zinc at night. And that's how we can help you, unless you want to run the hair tissue mineral analysis, which would be a great one to look to see if you have very high levels of copper that can cause these symptoms, high levels of heavy metals, which could turn on the immune system. So I would do that next. I would do the hair tissue mineral analysis when you're able to run another lab, and we'll get you going. So thanks so much, Josh, and for everyone for writing in today. I appreciate you, and hopefully you'll be back tomorrow where we answer more of our community questions. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my health results accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.